Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, it is I, the one and only Sonic the Hedgehog here, aka the Blue Blur, or Blue Justice, on my ad. And we are from the likes of the Mexi Toys videos once again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more Let's Play of Sonic Origins while we're playing through Sonic the Hedgehog CD for the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, as well as Xbox One, Xbox Series X/S, as well as PC Steam, and finally the Nintendo Switch. So, last time we essentially manage to win through 4 zones in the beginning portion of Sonic CD, by experiencing Plundery Panic, Collusion Chaos, Tidal Tempest, Quartz Quadrant. In addition to those zones, we also managed to actually gather ourselves all 7 of these time stones, so there's a good chance we can now actually experience the best ending of the game. That wasn't until whenever we get towards the very end of this particular game before we move on to Sonic the Hedgehog 2. So today for this video is that, speaking of which, we're about to be able to actually finish up everything in terms of Sonic the Hedgehog CD in Sonic Origins by experiencing the forms of, well, to begin with, let's go and get into the forms of my least favorite zone in Sonic CD, which appears to be Wacky Workbench. Oh god, why do we have to experience this zone again? Well, the good news about this is that since we've already got ourselves all 7 time stones throughout the majority of this playthrough, that also means about the fact that there's no need to worry about the forms of travel back in time to the past. Just to ensure about the fact that, yeah, this particular zone is usually it's very tedious at times, especially noticeable because you bounce around all over the place. In addition to that though, you might as well get yourselves a massive headache whenever you manage to keep on, you know, getting bounced around and all that stuff though. But either way though, usually relatively speaking, that's what I can say about Wacky Workbench. It's just, well, it's one of the most unpopular zone in Sonic CD. Well, I can totally understand why a lot of people seem to do not like Wacky Workbench as much as the next guy, but either way though, that's saying something. So anyway, so today's date is of course the 19th of February today, in this case in 2023 today. Only 5 more days to go until Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe is going to be on its way for the Nintendo Switch. And I'm super excited about that game. It's still especially noticeable because concerning about the fact that, well, usually I'm still a massive Kirby fan, such as the forms of how it does it from anyone else actually. So relatively speaking though, in terms of everything else I could possibly discuss upon, well, I'm afraid to tell you, there's not much else I can talk about, aside from the fact that, well, straight to the point, that we're now onto the halfway point in terms of Sonic the Hedgehog CD, because much like the forms of how it does it on, let's say, Sonic the Hedgehog 1, that each and every single zones in Sonic CD does manage to contain 3 acts per zone. Like, usually relatively speaking though, about the fact that with these 2 acts in mind, then obviously it usually starts things off in present day. Well, assuming of course if you manage to utilize the time travel aspect, and then once you get to the 3rd act in each zone, it always takes place in future, depending if it's either bad future or good future. Like, if it's a good future, obviously you have to destroy both of those robot generators, or if you manage to get all 7 time stones during the forms of that particular playthrough, then obviously about the fact that it'll just allows you to not need to worry about, you know, travel back to the past every single time whenever you get to, like, the next couple of zones worth noting for. So, speaking of which though, is about the fact that in the North American soundtrack, when it comes to Wacky Workbench Act 3, or generally speaking the bad future theme of Wacky Workbench, for whatever reason, the vocals on that particular music, it sounds weird, like, hey, Hawaii? Hey, Hawaii? Seriously, that's kind of strange, especially concerning about the fact that I almost first thought that the lyrics did say Hawaii, based off from Hawaii country or something like that. Well, I don't know about you, because it has been a very long time since I actually listened to some of those North American soundtracks, if you probably couldn't tell, so... Oh yeah, talking of which though actually, one thing I totally forgot to mention about is about the fact that, relatively speaking, well, it's been a very long time since that Nintendo finally get a chance to get Sonic the Hedgehog CD again, ever since in Sonic Gems Collection compilation. Well, despite the fact that in Sonic Gems Collection obviously does contain the PC version of the game, just because of all that, you know, the loading times as well as the different Sonic's head sprites in the title screen, as well as from that though, there are some very weird sound effects on the PC version, and in addition to that though, with the forms of that particular not so much color in the actual underwater, whenever you go into the forms of Title Tempest level, as you probably already pointed things out. So either way though, chances are though, that might be some conception in mind, so... But either way, that pretty much does it for Wacky Workbench. Thank God I don't have to touch that level ever again. Assuming, of course, if I want to unlock something else, for that matter though, this also means I have to go for time attack mode, so, oh boy. But I'll do that on my own time, and especially notable, we'll show off some extras of how Sonic Origins does contain, so... Anyways, let's get into, without a doubt, is my favorite zone in the game, which appears to be Stardust Speedway. Which is basically Starlight Zone, but a lot more, story and a lot more speedy-esque aspects. So, not exactly sure why, how do I explain this though, but either way though, it's seriously so awesome to be able to see Stardust Speedway again. And eventually by that time, that is when Sonic Mania exists, and they somehow brought this zone back. Well, usually for Act 1 it takes place in the past, and then in Act 2 it takes place in present day. So relatively speaking though, it's nice to be able to actually get ourselves a nice little speed sound kind of syndrome or something like that, unlike the forms of how it does it in Wacky Workbench. It seems all over the place, you know. And since about the fact that, well, as you can tell from the background, that these searchlights are actually moving super smooth, whilst compared to the forms of how it does it on the original Mega CD version or the PC version back in 1996 or something like that, for whatever reason they just goes like moving like bit by bit. I could possibly understand because of the limitations of the forms of like, well, I don't know how to explain about this because it's been, you know, a very long time since we actually experienced this zone since, well, since we first done it back in 2017 regardless, and somehow I managed able to beat the first act on under a minute, so it's pretty cool I might add, especially noticeable because concerning about the fact that with the speed runs of this particular zone, it's just, you know, so amazing all things considered. Well, it's, again, it's difficult to explain, because relatively speaking, I'm gonna have to memorize the level design for a little bit, just to ensure that we're able to actually figure out the correct path or what have you. But either way though, that's all I can really say about this as far as I'm concerned. Thus, if you probably already noticed about the fact that this is by far the shortest video we can possibly be able to do for the likes of the entire Sonic Origins as a result, because relatively speaking though, we can briefly managed able to win for this in the fastest time if possible, concerning about the fact that, as you can tell, I've already completed Act 2 also under a minute, so God knows, it might be possible during the forms of the last few stages and beyond. Well, apart from a couple of stages though, just because about the fact that, well, there is actually that one point until when it gets to the point until on the final zone in the game, which is specifically Metallic Madness. Basically though, I've actually discovered a huge shortcut I can simply just perform, but it wasn't until whenever we get to Act 2 on the other hand. So, because recently I've watched those speed tactics videos from the likes of the forms of the official Sonic the Hedgehog YouTube channel, like relatively speaking though, I somehow managed able to pull this off, not only on the PS4 version, but also on the Xbox One version as well. So either way though, you see why as soon as we're able to actually just do like, well, as soon as we're able to actually get into the final zone in the game basically. So again, I apologize for my commentary is a bit off at this point today because once again, I believe my laptop actually suffers from lag again. So it's a bit annoying and inconsistent, as simple as, like, if I was trying to record something that is entirely related to 1080p HD videos and stuff like that, it causes so much lag that has been going on, so... But either way, beggars yourselves can be choosers, I guess. So anyways, here we go with this famous Metal Sonic race, and oh dang, that was an awfully close call between me and Metal Sonic, but I somehow got there first, so eat that, egghead. So anyways, let's go ahead and rescue Amy right here, so just to ensure that we will finish up with the forms of Stardust Speedway. Pretty awesome stage to able to go back into at some form or another. So either way, let's move on to the final zone in Sonic CD before we move on to the next game of this entire compilation. And we've almost at the halfway point in terms of story mode for the likes of Sonic Origins, because after all, you know what I mean about the fact that we've almost there to the, some people consider this to be one of their fan-favorite 2D Sonic games of all time, next to the next one, which that wasn't until whenever we get to the later weekends later. So just to ensure that we will be able to actually do like 2 separate parts with all that each games, as far as I'm aware. So either way though, apart from one in particular exception to that. So, oh yeah, just be very careful of those pistons, because obviously you will get crushed very easily. Especially whenever I manage to play this zone on my own time, on the PS4 version, along with the Xbox One version as well. For the love of God, I always keep on getting crushed by those pistons, which I know it seems easy to do, but honestly though, it's just about the fact that it's just how stupid and redundant the actual hitbox can be sometimes. But either way, we somehow beaten Act 1 with under a minute as well. So, pretty cool and pretty substantial at the same time. So here we go on to Act 2, and this is what I'm going to show you guys, the actual massive speed run that you can able to actually not only try to skip the majority of the level, but also allows me to able to skip the entire mini Sonic section. So, I know it seems a bit, kind of redundant to able to actually go for this entire level and stuff like that, but honestly, I'm just the fastest thing alive, as you probably already noticed by this point. And also, I just realized that what if I look back on the films of the entire Let's Play of Sonic the Hedgehog CD back in 2017, I do realize about the fact that there are some style mixing issues, to be more specifically with all that game audio as well as the actual commentary at the same time. I mean, relatively speaking though, because we're sort of new to that particular Roxo Game Capture HD Pro system as a result, because relatively speaking though about the fact that, well, you know what I mean, but now we're in 2023, that we almost had that capture card for almost like 8 years now, so relatively speaking though, but I will say, it still feels a lot more better than the forms of how it does it on this easy capture card device, because looking back in it right now, as far as you probably already noticed, it feels a little bit outdated at this point, especially noticeable, well, you know what I'm saying. So either way, not much else to say, apart from the fact that, well, as far as, you know, playing Sonic CD as a result, looking back, especially noticeable now we've actually got the Sonic Origins version of this particular game, it's nice to able to actually see Sonic the Hedgehog CD get its re-release after the events of 2011, which is roughly about 11 years ago. So either way though, well, on top of all that stuff though, if you managed to able to play the game on the iOS phone devices, then sure enough though, you can able to actually play the game for free, as long as you about the fact that you have to pay for real money if you want to remove all these advertisements and stuff like that, whenever you like get to the next zone and stuff like that, or the next level I should say. But either way, that's all I can say about it. But as you saw, I've already pulled off the massive shortcuts in Metallic Madness Act 2, so pretty easy to able to pull this off, exponentially speaking though. I mean, relatively speaking though, about the fact that, well, relatively speaking, that's as far as I can show you to you guys with all that special techniques I can able to pull off. So, seriously, I really love pulling off some certain shortcuts in this particular game as a result sometimes, especially noticeable you can able to skip, you know, some good chunks of the level, pretty much, so. And as you expected, here we go on to the final zone, or the final stage, in Sonic CD, which is of course, Metallic Madness Act 3, and in some cases though, we got ourselves the good future version of that particular zone. So, and afterwards though, we'll sure enough, we're able to watch the actual good future, or should I say, the good ending of Sonic CD, and once we're done with that, we'll also see another, ending cutscene, but it's actually based off from the Sonic Origins movie compilations as far as I'm concerned. And so far, we haven't exactly come across into too many deaths in Sonic CD so far, which is actually a good thing. Especially concerning about the fact I know this game so many times since in Sonic Gems Collection compilation, when I first experienced that, is actually a bit of a struggle back then. But when I play it so many times, thanks to the forms of not only on the iPhone, as well as the forms of the Xbox 360 and PS3 versions, even though it's a bit of a shame I can't actually get the PC Steam version of its separate release of Sonic CD anymore, just because, well, well, it's no longer there because it's been delisted thanks to Sonic Origins' existence. So, at least still, thankfully though, most of those 3D Sonic games, specifically Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2, are already still existent on PC Steam, and most of any other systems for this matter though. I mean, who knows, maybe the Nintendo Switch might possibly get Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2 eventually on the Nintendo Switch. I mean, that would be cool though, especially noticeable you can play these two games on the go. Well, technically you can already do that from the likes of Steam Deck, but as a result though, yeah, that's as far as I can say about it. And let's watch the ending of Sonic the Hedgehog CD, and that pretty much does it for this point. And of course, just like the forms of how it does it on the 2011 remastered version of the game, basically we show ourselves the actual staff credits, but what I found was a little bit strange on this particular staff credit sequence is that, unlike in the 2011 remastered version of the game, that it seems all slow and everything to able to keep up the pace with the actual music, but for whatever reason, as far as you see on this particular footage of this anime ending right there of Sonic CD, it almost kind of reminds me of the forms of watching one of those extras from the likes of Sonic Mega Collection, because it runs at exactly the same speed as in Sonic Mega Collection version, except the fact that, as you can tell, the actual screen resolution, as I mentioned this in the beginning portion of Sonic CD game, that basically though it's just about the fact that it's now on 4.3 aspect ratio. So either way, that was it for Sonic the Hedgehog CD. Still managed to enjoy it even to this day, especially I can now finally play the game on the go on the Nintendo Switch version, as well as the iPhone devices, but either way though, that's saying something. So, but either way, yeah, 2 games down and only 2 more to go, which there are both Sonic the Hedgehog 2, as well as Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles. And I can assure you, Sonic 3 and Knuckles are essentially going to be the longest games of the bunch. So, very excited about that, especially concerning about the fact that, you know, Sonic 3 and Knuckles is easily one of my favorite video games of all time. So, either way though, that's what I can say about it. And of course, we're able to hear this amazing Sonic Boom theme song in the background. So, relatively speaking though, that's what I can honestly say about this. Well, what I found was a little bit odd is that what if you see that, you're too cool, message, whenever there's like tons of flowers planting around, that basically it just cuts off very quick, and I was like, whoa, 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 take it easy there. I get it because you want to move on to the next game in terms of the story mode as a result, but either way though, I guess suffice to say for this point, yeah, someone's playing online at the moment, so something's worth noting for. So anyways, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching of this particular part, and yeah, we'll get the endings of this point right here, so join me next time for more of Let's Play of Sonic Origins. Is that we're about to be moving on to the next game in terms of Sonic Origins, and we're about to be hit off to Sonic the Hedgehog 2. So as a result though, yeah, things get a lot more interesting at this rate. So yeah, I'll see you guys until the next weekend. Later, fellas.